Go ahead.
I'd like to call this meeting to order of the Downers Grove Township Board of Trustees meeting on Thursday, July 16th at 7:30 p.m. At this time, I invite everybody to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk Grimsby, can you call the roll, please?
Trustee Donner?
Present.
Trustee Ferguson?
Present.
Trustee Kelly?
Present.
Trustee Vanderlaan? Supervisor Toman?
Present. We have a quorum. That brings us to the next item, public comment. Residents may speak on township issues in general. I see no one from the public here at the meeting, so we'll move on to item number 5. Can I get a motion to approve meetings of the regular board meeting? Let me start over again. Can I get a motion to approve minutes of the regular board meeting from June 18th, 2020 as presented?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Well, Dave and I should probably abstain since we
We're
technically.
unable, through no fault of your own, to attend the meeting.
Correct. So.
Okay.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Well, we would do the roll call, so they can abstain.
So I was just gonna say, any abstaining?
Uh,
Okay, do a roll call.
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
I'll abstain.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderlaan?
Abstaining?
Okay. Supervisor Toman?
Aye, the motion carries 3-0-2. Next item, can I get a motion to approve the trustee audit of bills and claims as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Trustee Vanderlaan, have you had a chance to look at the detail sheets and the cover signature sheet on this month's audit?
Not in great detail, so I will see here and I will send the approval ex post facto.
Okay, so we'll take, what kind of vote does that translate into for tonight? Present?
Yeah, it's a present.
Okay, so when your roll call, vote present. So Clerk Grimsby, can we do a roll call, please?
Okay. Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderlaan?
Present.
Okay. And Supervisor Toman?
Aye, motion carries 4-0-0-1.
Oh,
Next up is a green energy presentation by Jim Zay and some gentlemen from, how do I pronounce this?
Eligo.
Eligo. From Eligo Energy about a potential program. This is an informational presentation, so if anybody has any questions after they give their presentation, fire away. Turn it over to you, gentlemen.
Okay, my name is James C. I'm the CEO of Clear Energy, Inc. Alexander Rosenblatt is the attorney for Eligo, and Kenneth Podato is the CEO of Eligo. Because of COVID-19, what we did was sent all advanced paperwork to all of you regarding the letters that would go out, the program, how it would work, how it functions. And I think that those letters should answer all of your questions, but these gentlemen here will answer any questions that you have. We will, if we start the program, I will be with it from start to finish. I will hold any public hearings that you want anywhere in the township. I will go in front of all your residents that have questions, and I will work with them, and I will be, anytime they have any phone calls in the future, as the last time I did the aggregation program for the township, I think people that work here will verify that I really followed through and took care of everybody that made a phone call. So rather than go into all the facts in the letters, I'd just like to bring out some salient points. One, there is no different for the resident in the fact that they stay with ComEd. They pay the same price as ComEd charges. All services is provided for ComEd, by ComEd for any repairs, any problems they have. You literally have everything that the residents have with ComEd now. Billing, energy programs, anything they're doing with ComEd stays the same. They have any problems, they call ComEd for repairs. The only thing that changes for the resident is on some of their bills, they're gonna see the supplier name of Eligo rather than ComEd as the supplier. But ComEd is their electric company. Eligo has done 24 of these programs. One right now is with Arlington Heights, and another one is with Aurora, which is the second biggest city in the United States, as you probably well know. I think the strongest thing I can say is it doesn't seem like an individual advantage to the residents of your town, but there's no detriment to them. They pay the same price with Eligo as they're gonna pay with ComEd. The only advantage to the residents of Downers Grove Township is the $55,000 that the township receives each year. That money can be spent on any project that the township decides to use it on. There is no restrictions of how they spend that money. And if you take the 2-year program, you get $55,000 each year. So it's a win-win for the residents that they're not paying any more money, and any money that the township receives is going to be spent on the residents' behalf in the township.
Can you explain the 55,000? I thought we were talking about like 5,000.
No, we
No,
were talking like $4K a month.
Yeah.
yeah, if you go back over the letter that we sent out, it's $55,000 that's paid to the township on a monthly basis each month.
Wait, it's
No,
55,000?
it's broken down. I'm sorry. That would really be nice.
Oh, I got the camera running
Oh,
for this,
yeah.
sold.
55 a month.
No, no.
I'm in.
55,000 annual, and it's broken down on a monthly basis.
No, that's if everybody in the unincorporated area, all the unincorporated accounts sign up for the program?
No, some of the residents, all residents will be in the green program. Some of the residents, ComEd will remain the people that supply their electric. Some residents, it will show Eligo as the supplier for the electric. So they're all getting the green benefits, but Eligo will be giving the electricity that runs through the wires to some of the residents. ComEd will be giving some of them their supply. But it doesn't change anything for the resident other than the name that appears on their bill. They're all gonna be getting the same green energy. They're all receiving the same rate. Nothing changes for them.
So if a ComEd resident needs service, they call ComEd.
Yes,
If an Eligo resident needs service, who do they call?
ComEd.
Okay.
ComEd is the electric company. They own the generators, they own the wires, the telephone poles. They're responsible for all repairs of any kind. So the only thing that's really happening is you've got electricity running through the wires. Either ComEd's gonna pay for it, or Eligo's gonna pay for it. Everybody's gonna get the same amount of green energy, and nothing changes for them.
And let me add that so we send a letter to every participant, and if they decide they don't want to be part of the program, they can opt out.
Okay.
Everybody has an opportunity to do that. We still pay you regardless of how many people opt out, so your fee is set. We have statistical models that say, we know about how many people will opt out. There are always some that do, Usually around, what, Alex, 5 to 10%?
It depends, yeah.
It depends. It
I guess I'm
varies.
trying to determine how illegal makes its money. I don't fully understand the process of where
Okay,
you guys come in.
here, we'll explain that right now to you.
We're able to buy it cheaper.
How and why?
Well, so a couple.
I'm not trying to steal your
No,
business
no,
model
no.
here.
So,
Please.
No, you're asking good
Forcing
questions.
open trade secrets here.
So like, we buy cheaper because we know how to hedge really well. So a lot of energy companies, including some of the bigger ones, will just buy enough power way in advance. And we have a model that predicts just how much we need to buy at any one time to protect our risk. And so we end up paying a little bit lower average cost. The other thing that helps us is it's not all customers are created equal when it comes to cost. Some people, it costs more to serve per kilowatt hour than others. So by choosing the customers we want to invite to the program, we're choosing the customers who are more profitable and leaving the ones that aren't as profitable with ComEd. So really, it's just, we're just basically taking $1 out of ComEd's pocket, and putting ours.
And how big
Put
of
it in
a
your
company?
pocket.
But we put it in yours too.
Yeah, how big of a company are you?
So this year we'll do about 120 million in sales. We have, right now we have about 160,000 customers nationwide. By the end of the year we hope to be about 200,000. Of that number, about 50,000 are in Illinois and the rest are in.
Maybe more customers, those are customer equivalents probably.
Yeah, okay, between 50 and 60. And then we also have big.
Well, I'm confused why more local governments wouldn't buy into this.
They
Well,
are.
they have.
They are.
So he mentioned 24 programs, those are current, yeah, those are current programs that
They're-
we're doing now.
so
We've
we've
done
picked up-
50 of them throughout.
There's other companies like Heligo that are
To put
working
in
with the
perspective, I think we picked
townships.
up, what, 15 this year alone?
This year has seen a very strong increase.
Alan's got a question.
Can you walk us, we have history, you and I. We've been here for a while and you've done this before. What's the status of between when we were here the last time, when we actually started this program, didn't we?
Yes,
And didn't we have to go out for bid? That's what the contract, that's what the
That-
law said.
that was a different situation, and most people do not do those aggregation programs anymore. When aggregation first started, the goal was to come in and see if you could get a price to beat ComEd, to
Right.
save the residents money.
Right.
Well, what happened on those programs was ComEd would anticipate giving you a certain price, and then we'd all bid and we'd put an aggregation program in, and then ComEd would come back and say, oh, guess what? We really don't need that much money, so now we're gonna drop our rate. Well,
ComEd
so then the
left and came
residents,
back in, right?
yeah, then the residents sometimes were paying less and sometimes more. So everybody has pretty much gotten away from that basic type program because they can't count on what ComEd's gonna charge. So if I came in here and said, hey, I've got a great rate, ComEd's at 7.2 per kilowatt hour, and I can get you a rate, which is what I did when they had those programs,
Right.
I'll give you a rate of 6.5.
Right.
Well, that's great. Now, all of a sudden, a year later, ComEd says, oh, we're not going to 9.2 like we thought we were going to. We're going back to 6.3. And then the next year, they went back up again.
So educate us as to how you guys fit into this now and into this law that I have, that I'm trying to figure out how this plays out. How you come back in and do good, and we want you to do good. I mean, everybody wants to help the residents, so.
Right.
Help me understand how you do that within the statute that I have, or if there's another statute that I have.
No, it works within that statute, I think.
Yeah, well, let's let Alex explain, he's an
Yeah,
attorney
I
and he
mean,
understands the law
we've
really
been
well.
doing the traditional, we call them 1.0 type programs for many years, maybe 40 programs, 50 total. And like Jim was saying, some of them with him and other clients, and it became more and more difficult to win out on ComEd's price every single year, so we had to develop another program. And this is such a program, it's just very difficult to implement because you really need a lot of computer crunching to run these numbers. And there are only very few in the entire nation that could do this, probably. and they do, it's not just us, like Jim said, that try to do these programs. And we go out to cities, sometimes directly, sometimes through the energy consultants, or they'll come to us, and they'll ask us to implement these programs for them. So it's very similar to the same statute, it's an opt-out aggregation program. We're
Would you
just
have
not trying to
would you
beat
have
the
to
price.
bid to get into this? Would we have to? Put
Do we have to go through a bidding
No,
process?
you don't have to
No.
go through an RFP, I'm sorry, to a referendum again, you can use the same referendum that you have. What I would suggest, I mean, you could put it up to bid, the problem is that there aren't that many companies that will even try.
And,
And I'm not making it up. I mean,
and the other thing is no matter who you go to, ComEd's gonna pay, it's gonna be the same price as ComEd no matter who comes in here to bid.
Right.
Cause they can't underbid ComEd anymore. So it's
You
just,
guys can.
I'm
We're
sorry.
not underbidding it.
No,
No, they're
No, no.
matching comments.
We're
price.
matching
matching,
ComEd's
so-
Matching
price.
it, you're making money because you can buy it cheaper.
Right, we're matching it, but we're sharing any kind of the profits with you in terms of civic fee, as well as, it costs us money to do the green certification as well.
Yeah, that, we're doing the EPA Green certification, it's an EPA Green partner community program where we send in the application and procure enough green energy to offset a portion of your non-green energy to tell the EPA this town now qualifies for your program, certify them, they do. And, you know, they'll give you certificates, they give you road signs, Facebook recognition, social media recognition, they put you on their website. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a
you
process
take-
to go
You
through
take
too.
care of all of that?
We take care of all of that. We've certified a couple of Aurora and Franklin Park and Arlington Heights already this year. And Palos, I think, was already certified, as well as a couple of other ones from last year, yes. It takes time, especially nowadays, you know, everything's a little slower, but they're still working, it's still going on.
And
Now, last time around, the aggregate program fell apart when ComEd came in and kneecapped everybody on price.
yes,
What happens if they do the same thing this time? If we're at.
we match ComEd's price.
Yeah.
If ComEd's at 7 cents today, we're at 7 cents. If ComEd
Unless they
goes
find your
to,
secret number, which is much lower.
Well, so ComEd is using a blunt force instrument, so they're taking their costs across the entire service area, right? And so what we're able to do is we're able to say, not all customers are created equal. We serve the ones that we can make more money on, and then we share that with you, basically you and the EPA.
Which is the unincorporated area.
Right,
the smaller
so,
houses.
so it's not really affecting, because ComEd's got millions and millions of customers, so like, okay, so a couple thousand that they don't serve, it doesn't really move the needle for them. They don't really care, to be honest with you,
And-
because everything is done formulaically when they go to the, when they go to the PUC to get their rates approved, it's all basically cost plus.
Well, they're making
And-
plenty of money on their part.
and ComEd can't, ComEd's gotta be out there for everybody.
Look, I mean, what you're saying is.
We don't.
Council, you got some contracts that you've used with other municipalities that have done this, Aurora?
Yeah, we have a sample contract with us.
And you got any cases that have been, any Illinois case law in this regarding this statute?
The statute itself, sure,
Yeah.
but none as far.
I'm
as
just
I'm aware about it.
educating, I'm not, I
No,
don't,
no,
I'm
yeah.
not trying to be combative, I'm just.
Oh,
No,
no, they're excellent
You're doing
questions.
your job.
I
Yeah.
want you to be combative about this.
No, these are really good questions. I'm not aware of a single case on this area. I mean, most of the aggregations are well received, especially this one. I mean, it's
Oh, yeah.
you're doing plenty of good, right? So,
They've done the same thing that you guys did, Alan. They had their referendum. They followed the rules. And the rules are such now that this is still an aggregation program and it fits within the confines of those original rules.
And you said Arlington Heights, Palos, and Aurora have all implemented this with you?
Palos Township.
Palos Township, Aurora, the full Aurora Township actually just signed up today. So
Aurora Township?
Aurora, the city of Aurora was signed up since last year. I think we onboarded them in January. And then Township just signed up today.
And Arlington Heights?
Franklin Park.
But there's about 24, 25 live ongoing programs right now, and we've done some more in the past as well.
Okay.
There's
These
something
are current that are happening now or are about to be onboarded.
something I
in
wanted
October,
to say
for
to
example.
you.
They're about to start.
Is people don't realize it, but most of my business is not aggregation business, it's commercial business. You would be amazed at how many places of business that you go to, they're not with ComEd. they're with alternate suppliers like Heligo, AEP.
Well, if they're getting a kickback, then.
They're not,
No.
they're raceable.
No,
They're raising.
the reason they go in,
Not a
they
kickback.
buy their electric different than ComEd
It's a
has.
civic fee.
Civic fee.
So,
Yeah.
okay, guys, to answer your question, there is an
To do
ICC,
good, right?
hold on a second.
Civic fee.
This is exactly on point. There is an Illinois Commerce Commission rule, and we have to give them this information. So we tell them what the civic fees are for the towns. They will know. Because we have to report, and it's, I can't remember the exact statute, it's like 470-200 on, and they call it a civic contribution or civic fee, or civic grant. I don't remember the exact number.
I'm good
That's
with
the
that.
Illinois Commerce Commission
Yeah.
reference, not
Okay.
ours. So don't call it a kickback, it's
Okay,
whatever the ACC
understood.
calls it.
No,
I think I called it actually vague and
And-
it fell to
and-
the trustees.
and I'm sorry, the reason that these companies can buy electricity different, they don't have to buy electricity to cover everybody in their area. ComEd does. They have to have X amount of power on hand to cover anybody that wants it legally. Companies like Heligo, they go to a commercial account and they say, okay, you use 300,000 kilowatt hours, ComEd is charging you 7.2, we'll give you a rate of 6.5 and we'll give you a contract for 3 years.
Understood.
So most companies that you see out there, they're not with ComEd, they're with alternate suppliers.
Are you just going to approach residential accounts or also any commercial accounts? We don't have much in the way of
Small commercial.
commerce
Yeah,
or
those
industrial.
usually those are on some other supply service. And
Okay.
because of that, we can't have them opt out. We would send them an opt-in letter asking them if they want to join, but they'd have to call us to join or
Okay.
do something affirmative to join. The small
And-
commercial accounts.
And most of them probably won't, Mark, because they're like my other commercial accounts. I can go in, commercial's totally different than residential.
Yeah.
So on the commercial end, if they're with an alternate supplier, they're paying less than ComEd.
The only industrial area I'm aware of is down by Ring Road, down on the corner, down by the river. And then Soderberg's store on Route 83. I think those are the only things that we have that are in unincorporated areas that aren't residential.
And
So the letters that we got for ComEd and non-ComEd accounts, you're talking about a term of 2 years?
yeah, 2-year
Is
contract.
that like, you found that to be the optimum time frame?
It's the optimal, I don't want it to be 3 precisely for the reason that somebody here mentioned, what if
Right.
something happens in the future.
Right,
And while I'm not worried about ComEd, I'm worried about other factors like capacity, which I'm not going to get into. There's forces beyond ComEd that are higher up that control this as well, the market. And this opportunity might just go away in a few years. And 1 year is not long enough because you would just do the round of letters. You know, it takes a couple of months to get used to that. And
Right.
then you want to do it again in 9 months. It's just, 2 years seems to be a decent term. That's what 2 to 3 years are what we see the contracts for these.
Yeah, and then we'll see a lot of them will actually renew with us and do another 2-year contract.
yeah, I was just gonna say, we did a group contract originally for refuse pickup for unincorporated residents. And in the contract, it had a renewal clause in there where we could very easily just renew and extend it. Is something like that also in your contract?
We have a renewal clause, but, we'd have to, I would imagine you guys would want to know what the next
Oh,
year's
yeah.
fee would be, right?
Yeah.
So I think, a year into the contract, maybe a year and a half, we can tell that with more certainty.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is, yes, we do have a renewal clause, and it's very easy to extend these. But we would run the analysis again, maybe, if, let's say it's a 24-month term, 18 months into the program, or 12 months into the program, to see what the next year would look like.
Okay,
Because the capacity that I mentioned, that chart changes for us every 3 years or so. So we'd have to see what the next 3 years look like, or 3 years.
all the mailer contacts, everything that you're mailing out to customers, that's on your dime?
Yes,
Okay.
you're not paying.
You
You
have,
would provide us the logo, which helps, and it would come from the township, with the township's blessing. That's how the cities do it, but we would pay for it.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
It's a 2-year agreement that they sign up for, correct?
No, customers don't sign up for anything, they can leave at any time. The city,
That was my question.
Yeah.
If they choose to change their mind, can they opt out?
Absolutely.
yeah, yes.
Anytime.
Anytime there are no fees, there are no more termination fees in Illinois for residential customers. That's prohibited by the state.
And then, what are the benefits, if we were gonna try to encourage our township residents in unincorporated areas to go with this program? Is your letter cover some of the benefits, or is it just basically what the township would be receiving?
We don't actually,
Yeah, or-
The only,
Tell me why do I wanna sign up for your program if I live in unincorporated Downers Grove Township?
because you're gonna help your township go green, partially green,
at no cost to you.
at
It's not
no cost to
you.
you.
Okay, all right.
And
That's
the
what I'm
other
trying to
thing-
get at. I'm trying, how are you gonna convince them that they
And-
should do
well,
this?
and
I
the
know there's
other-
no
Well, they're
extra cost,
opted in.
but-
The other thing is,
They're not
is,
choosing to participate, we would choose on their behalf to participate. They would only have the opportunity to opt out. Not
Correct.
everyone would sign up per se individually.
Right.
They would be, this would be their supplier.
Yes, Abby nailed it. That's exactly how it works.
the big benefit on this program to me is, one, you're going partially green, which is good in today's society. You may agree or not agree with it, but, you know, it is something that's in society now. And the second thing is the money is gonna be used for their benefit. I mean, I would stress that point, that the township is getting funds in. That's money you don't have to ask them for. I mean, if a bunch of pipes break or something happens, and you need $50,000, you're gonna get it from either the residents, or you take it from this program. To me, that's the big benefit of the program.
And the last question I have is about your sourcing and the supply. How does that work? Where the electricity is coming from, where?
So we buy the energy generally on what we call the wholesale market here in northern Illinois. The offset green energy, we procure from various Midwest farms, wind farms typically. And that energy is put into the grid, and we say that energy is now claimed on behalf of Downers Grove Township, and we have to do some paperwork with EPA and perhaps other institutions, sometimes Illinois, to show that where it was generated and to whom it was attributed, and then it's retired. So we take care of that
So
process as well.
there's no concern about you not having electricity?
No, really no, because in the end, ComEd will still provide everything. It's literally what happens is just a line item and a bill changes from your perspective, from the customer's
Do you
perspective.
provide us, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay, do you provide us with any information about how much electricity is used, how much electricity is green?
Sure, yes.
You know, like kilowatts, kilowatt hours for usage, or joules
Absolutely.
of electricity, whatever?
Absolutely. If you'd like certain reports, we can do quarterly reports or whatnot, but in general, it depends what you pick. We keep saying, you know, we're going to certify you as an EPA green partner. And in that report, one of you likely would have to be the public relations contact for the township.
Mm-hmm.
And when we file that report with EPA, it will have all of the information. It says this is the town's total usage, this is how much we're offsetting.
Well, that's
And-
something that we could go back to, potentially to residents on a regular basis, whatever, twice a year or quarterly, and say, here's how much green energy the township used instead of burning, you know, hydrocarbons.
Correct, so they give you a certificate, and as part of the certificate, we tell you this is equivalent to these many tons of CO2
Okay,
removed.
all right.
There's a little packet, a
That,
little
I just think that would be good information to give back to
Correct.
the
And
That's,
customers, so they know that they're
That's
actually
a-
helping.
So it's not the actual electrons they're using that are green, but we're putting green ones into the grid on their.
somewhere else
Right, right.
nearby-ish
Yeah.
to do that, and the EPA certifies
Yeah.
that. And what they do then is, they do a pretty nice job. They tell you, this is the township's bio, and they give you a chance, what do you want to say? We'll put it on our website, the EPA does, after you're done, editing the bio, and it'll say in there, this is, you know, equivalent to this many tons of CO2 taken off the road. And, you know, we can do it in other ways. Cars of their own CO2, tons of coal. There are some calculations that can be done.
Do Do you have the ability to sign up federal agencies? We've got Argonne National Labs in our township.
No, not for a program like this. We can sign them up for supply and they go out for bids. I bet you Argonne goes out for competitive bids for their electricity supply.
I'm just thinking out loud.
No, absolutely. And I know I've seen them because the Department of Energy or or the military even, I think, does their bids. And we participate in them sometimes.
Well, on a side note, Mark, if they do go out for bids and you know somebody, tell them I'd like the opportunity
I've
to
seen
bid.
Argonne for those bids, in those bids, and you have to jump through a couple of hoops to be qualified by the federal government to bid on them,
Okay,
which we are. We've bid on, we've never won Argonne, but, you know, I've seen them.
okay.
Do you compete with Midwest Energy?
No? Who's Midwest Energy?
Sounds familiar. Are they gas and electric or?
They're an energy company in Township.
They might be a consultant too.
Let me look them up. I mean, the name sounds familiar.
Yeah. There's some companies who are generators, some, like us, that are in our procurement.
Yeah, I don't think they do
Analytics.
green, I'm not saying they do green.
Okay.
Okay. Art?
I have some questions.
Sure.
Do you have any capacity issues? I mean, how often do you go buy energy? Like when you go to the wind farms and so forth, do you buy it on a monthly basis, a daily basis?
We would procure your contract if you had a contract.
Okay,
In advance, all of it, with the wind farms.
so you would buy 2 years of energy to match what you feel would be the usage here?
For the green aspect of it, yes. For the other aspect of it, because not everything is going to be green, only a part of it is offset.
Got it.
Yes, we would procure approximately what we feel is going to be the 2 years of the green component of the program in
Okay.
advance.
So from a capacity standpoint, if the city of Chicago came in tomorrow and signed you guys up, and you'd be buying all this energy, and if something adversely went against you on the spread of what the rate making is here versus what you would buy it for, what would happen if something happened to your company? Would the people then default back to Commonwealth Edison?
Yes.
Correct. If the worst thing that happens, they go back to paying the same price they're already paying.
Okay, so they never would lose out on,
Yes, I mean, the program stops, you guys would lose out on the money. Then that's the downside of it.
the 55,000.
Correct.
For the next year.
And it wouldn't be green anymore.
Okay. Let me
But there's no downside, I mean, they're paying the same price, I guess.
Yeah. Let me understand how it works for the seniors in our community. Let's say, for instance, we went with your program, and then what happens? Are they automatically in with your company, and they have to opt out to stay with Commonwealth Edison? Or is it reverse osmosis?
No,
They have to, they're with Edison, and then we decide to go with you, and then they have to say, we want to go with you? Which way is it?
So it's a little bit of both. We have a customer list. Let's say for simplicity, there's 100 customers total in the township. Some of them are going to be with companies like ours.
Okay,
Some of them are going to be with ComEd. The ones that are with ComEd are opted in automatically, if you guys go with us, unless they decide to cancel or opt out.
got it.
There are ones that are with some other company, we send them a letter saying, if you'd like to participate, you have to tell us, because you're with somebody else. We can't just put you away from maybe you have a contract with them. We can't yank you away from your contract by force, but if you want to, you can join the program, and a lot of people do.
And the ones that are with non-Commonwealth Edison contracts, aren't they locked in? Are they allowed to change it without?
Yes, they can affirmatively enter our program and quit their current programs, because as of last year, or I think as of maybe January 1st this year, the other companies are not allowed to charge people any early termination fees for leaving their program.
Got it, okay.
So they also can leave at any time. They don't know that, and we tell them that in the letter, because chances are they're also on top of it paying a higher rate than they should be.
Let me specifically address those older people. From their perspective, nothing really changes. Because ComEd is still the one whose truck shows up if they have a problem with their power. ComEd still sends them a bill, it only is one line item says that'll go. They're still paying the same amount,
Right,
right? Nothing's changed at all. Any program they were on before, they're still on that. Really, again, the only thing that changes is we're supplying their power. So instead of ComEd going out and buying power and putting in, sending it to the house, we're doing that. Other than that, everything's the same.
And their assistance programs don't change either. They don't
Not,
change
not, so it's not, it shouldn't be a big deal to them. You will get questions, I mean, there always are some questions.
Well, that's my point about the staff time. 'Cause
No,
Mark could work Saturdays and answer
No.
questions as far as I'm
Jim will do that.
all they've got to do is, just like the last time I did an aggregation, they have my name, my phone number, they have one call to make, and that's me.
Okay.
Okay, well, and we get a lot of calls.
And
We
the other,
explain it to them too.
the other thing is, the last time we did this program, where most of the questions came from was, Christina, isn't it a big complex, it's townhouses or something
Oh, Little
where I did
Corners,
that,
8, Route
where I
83,
did that
yeah.
meeting over there?
Yeah.
I'm more than willing, if they want a meeting, I'll come out and I'll do the meeting and I'll answer all their questions. And I'm very good, you can ask Christina, I'm very good at phone calls. They either get me to answer or I call them back quickly. Never do they have to wait more than 12 hours for a phone call unless they call me at 1:30 in the morning. Then it may take till 9 o'clock the next morning before they get a return phone call. And I don't try to pacify the people. I try to answer all their questions. I try to make sure that they're very comfortable, that they understand everything. And if they say to me, well, you know, I'm not really comfortable, I'd like to be out of this, I take care of it.
One last question, how many accounts are these, Mark? Do we know how many accounts?
We have a little over 5,000 residential homes, I think.
Do you have a copy of that report, Alex?
I don't have a copy of the report, I remember some of the numbers.
Yeah, we got a copy of all the accounts in your whole township.
So we think it's going to be approximately, you know, maybe, not everybody participates, we don't pick everybody to stay in the program, less than 2,000 on the program with us, and then the rest with some other suppliers, right? Not all of the 5,000 are even eligible to begin with because they're with another supplier, or, for example, people who are net metering or hourly aren't a good fit for the program. So they're excluded. There aren't that many of them, but there are some.
We have fairly modest goals, but you're pretty well targeted then?
Yes.
Okay.
So every person that signs up, basically at the 2,000, gets the 25 bucks back for the township, in essence. Okay.
Per year, yes.
Approximately, I mean, that's the math. And we'd like, you know, the township and the municipalities to be on our side. We thought, for example, Aurora did a very nice job. They had a lot of open houses. Now, this is before COVID.
Yeah.
And it was easier, but, you know, we went out, we had Spanish-speaking open house, they had PR, they had newspaper articles on them. You guys can Google some of them. I think I sent some of them over about the Aurora and Arlington Heights programs. Because when you get the resident support, if a lot of them opt out, we won't be able to do the program again the year after. You have to understand. If we don't get good results, we can't do the 55,000 a year. It's not worth doing. So it helps when they're not discouraged and they're encouraged to stay, especially because there isn't a price difference.
And we had good results on the last program.
Right now, it's very difficult to organize a big meeting.
I know, but there are things that can be done, social media and PR potentially. You know, I don't know if there's any local newspapers that can pick it
There's a
up.
newsletter and there's, the website and there's simple ways to.
Well, we do get a really good reach with Nextdoor, which is a constant source of
And those come
surprise
up.
for me.
Those discussions come up on Facebook, on Nextdoor, and potentially, you know, it would be nice to get ahead of them and post something saying, this is what's happening, this is the program. It's good for the city, it's good for township in this case, it's good for the environment.
Yeah.
And it helps to let them know the other towns and cities that have this program.
Okay. Do you have any pre-baked pressers that we can use, or?
The letter that I sent over, I have more with us, I think I updated the date, and I think we gave a firm number before they had a range.
Okay.
Coming into this meeting, we settled on a number. It's possible if you wait too long, it might change a little bit. It really is seasonal, depending on when we start. For example, right now, we targeted October start to give a little bit of time, but it does take us about 45 days to get a program off the ground at least because of certain dates, because we have to communicate with ComEd and send them lists of customers, receive information back and forth, and that with their rules, some of the dates are, we have to give 21 days for customers to opt out, plus another 18 days to submit an enrollments to ComEd. So that's about, 40 days right there.
Okay.
So it takes time. So to do this program, to start in October, for example, we'd have to have a decision in, preferably by no later than mid-August. If not, we'd have to push it back another month, and then the economics might change, because then you're not, the seasonality, as you might understand, comes into it a lot.
Okay.
I don't know which way it would change, it could go up or down. But.
Now, you say you brought tonight contract?
Yeah, we brought sample contracts and the sample letters, and as well as the, I guess you call it the teaser letter, but really just the same letter that we
So
provided
we
to
are,
you guys.
okay.
Yeah.
So that stuff has already been sent out to the trustees. Contract is not, right?
So I think I sent Jim a contract to you as well, so you can
Yeah,
forward it.
I included a copy of the contract.
And I can leave 2
paperwork
copies
that I
of here.
sent you, but I'll be happy to resend it. and he
Yeah,
can
resend
leave-
it as an
He can
email.
leave one here,
So I can send it out to everybody and they can take a look at that also.
okay? I sent it because I thought Alan would want to look at it.
Scan
We can scan it and send it out to everybody. Yeah, if you wanna leave that here, I'll just
Sure.
scan it.
I mean, you don't need to do that, it's easy enough to email it.
Just email it to him and I'll hit it on Monday.
So do you even want me to leave a copy or not?
Yeah, leave one copy
You
for
can leave
Alan.
one copy, give it to Al.
Yeah, give one here.
He's gonna have to vet it anyway.
Mark, two more things. One is, can we earmark these funds, if we elect to go with this, towards a certain program or something? Do we have the ability to do that, or this has to go into a certain fund, like an enterprise fund or something?
No, you're allowed to, unless there's any laws that preclude you from doing something special with it, those go in your general account and you can use it for whatever you want.
I love your answer, but I want to see Mark tell me that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, as I looked at it, it looked like it's coming in as miscellaneous income. That's where the,
He's right, but you can earmark it
Yeah,
internally.
that's where the prescription
Okay.
card money would end up, under the miscellaneous fund and the general fund revenues. But if there's a consensus among trustees that they would prefer to see money spent for Supervisor Whiskey Fund. You know.
Well, actually, something that would directly go back to the people
No,
that are benefiting. You know,
Yeah.
That was the thought there.
Yeah.
And are we empowered to do this legally? Has there been any challenges to your knowledge or something?
Well, that was what I was probing.
With the research, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know of none, but.
It's been going on since at least 2018,
Okay.
the
Okay.
first programs, and a lot of them are coming up for renewal, and like I said,
Okay.
there is a vehicle
Okay,
with the ICC where we tell them, and they know what civic grants are being provided. They even have a description in their administrative code to report on these civic grants,
okay.
if that's the
Very
concern. And my experience in these board meetings with the cities, some of them put them in the general funds, and they openly talk about it in the few meetings they attended, and some of them earmark them for green purposes. And in one particular purpose, like the letter said, that funds will be earmarked for, renewable energy projects or whatnot. But it's up to the municipality.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
We've got the letters of information.
I wasn't saying you couldn't earmark it, I was just saying you don't have to.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to put it in the wrong fund because you won't visit me. Al will visit me.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
right.
And I'm
I'll
not,
make sure there's no trip
I'm
wires
not
on
an
this,
attorney,
so
so you better
follow
listen
up.
to Alan.
I'll send the contract out, you send me the contract, I'll make sure all the trustees get a copy of it, and so you can look that over. If you have any questions, you can send them back to me and we can compile them, and get any answers on that. And that'll give us a month to cogitate over it, and we'll see if we can get it on the agenda for next month, one way or the other, either up or down.
Now, remember what we just went over, if your next meeting isn't until August
August
18th,
20th.
August 20th, that's pushing everything back.
Understood.
So then the
We
numbers
don't have a
can
choice,
change.
right, but we don't have a choice, because
No, no,
it's not
no,
on the agenda.
No, I understand, I just wanna make sure that, you know, you may not do it for 3 months, how do I know? But I'm just saying, I want you to be aware
Well, what I'm
of it.
saying, I'm asking the trustees is, we'll send out all this information, and I'll talk with the trustees, and I'll be looking for an up or down that we can put on the agenda, or not, for August, so you guys will know by August 20th.
Okay,
Prior to August 20th, what'll happen.
Okay.
Yeah,
If we lose a month on that because of it, if that's a big hassle, it's not much.
It's not a big hassle,
No.
we'll have to probably rebid it and provide you with, you know, at least
Updated
different
numbers.
dates,
What's
update
your
the
drop
contract.
dead, what's your date? I mean, if it's
Yeah,
not
what's your
August
drop
20th,
dead date
what is
on
it?
what you got?
you said.
Well,
August.
so bill cycles for October will start actually in September, so we have to go about 40 days from the end of September. Approximately.
August 20th, perfect.
That would be
Close.
mid-August.
Close, it could potentially, it could work if we're all ready and prepared to go. It's not up to us, we have hard deadlines that are dictated by, there's an 18-day deadline and a 21-day deadline. that-
Let's put it, let me make it,
Okay, well, we'll talk about it August 20th.
let's make it easier, if you all talk among yourself, and you feel like it's something you're gonna go forward to, take your vote on August 20th, but if you can give us maybe 6 or say a week advance notice saying, we've talked amongst ourselves, we feel like it's something we're gonna go forward, start doing your paperwork before you guys sign a contract, in case someone changes their mind at the last minute. But if we could have a week's prior notice to start getting some paperwork together, that way when you do vote, if you vote to go with it, we've already got a bunch of stuff in place. And if
So-
you don't, and you change your mind,
Okay,
that's fine too.
all right. So it sounds like August 14th is a drop dead date for what you guys need to know.
Approximately, I think, like I said, Jim, good point, we can work in parallel and just have certain things queued up for, let's say, August 21st or whatever.
The meeting's
The
on
day after.
Thursday, August 20th.
Yeah.
The
so we-
14th would be the Friday before that.
Yeah, so we may have to start the program October, November, you know, different cycles and different dates.
Okay.
We would,
You know, we'll pick up some people in October and some more people in November potentially.
If we knew on the 14th that they were probably more than likely gonna go ahead with the program on the 20th, at least we could start some of the paperwork, laying out everything we need. And that way, if we got word on the 20th or 21st, we're already ready to put it at the printer and everywhere else. That's all I'm getting at, is we need to print the letters up and get all that ready. So if we had some idea, we could line all that up, and then if you said yes on the 20th, we'd go forward. If you said no on the 20th, fine, you said no.
So you don't mind Mark calling you at 1 o'clock on the 20th?
No, I have no problem.
59.
The only problem is my phone is shut off during the night, so I can get some
I was
sleep. I know you would.
I'll keep the lines of communication open with you.
Okay.
As we sort this out. Dave, do you have any questions? We haven't forgotten you.
No, sir, this has been a wholesome conversation.
Any questions for us, Dave?
He said no.
I do not.
Okay, thank
Amy, any
you.
other questions?
Nope.
Art, any other questions?
None?
Karen, any other questions?
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for
Thank you.
allowing us to present it to you.
You're welcome.
Take care. Bye, guys. Nice meeting you.
Next up on the agenda is a motion to approve a license and service agreement with Tyler Technologies. Can I get a motion on that?
This, just clarification, this is the programming.
This is the accounting, bookkeeping, accounting, finance, budgeting, and payroll.
I will make this motion.
May I have a second, please?
I can second it.
Okay, I'm open for discussion. I do want to give you some background on this because this has been kind of a painful process for us. We had been using AMS software for well over 20 years, and it was something of a bargain for us. And the owner and sole proprietor of the software company passed away right when COVID started, not from COVID causes, but he passed away. Chris put together a work group of other bookkeepers that use AMS software, so she had a software support group that people could ask, you know, hey, I've got this problem, how do I deal with it? I've got that problem, because Jim was no longer around. And thank you for doing that. It was a lot of time and energy. It was kind of a pain in the neck, but about a month into it, we got a letter from the attorneys of the estate saying the program is dead, the company is gone, and there is no more support, and that's it. End. So we, in addition to having a support group for AMS software, which Chris is still working through with other bookkeepers, she also initiated with the other bookkeepers a search function for replacement software. And what we found was we had a really good deal with AMS software because of how old it was. I mean, basically it's a souped up VisiCalc, if anybody is old enough to remember that. Go back about 30 years. So we had webinar presentations from Encode, BSNA, Civic, and MSI. We also talked to a gentleman who is kind of like Jim was, just a solo programmer. That was, what's his name, Ryan Gates with Sage 10. The best feedback we consistently got from users was on Encode, which is Tyler Technologies. The county also uses their software, so there's some familiarity at that level. And that, even despite that being the most expensive system, you look at the first quote we had on that, it was $89,428, which was, that's choke on it money, basically.
Is this in the budget?
This is not specifically in the budget. I don't think we need a budget amendment to do this. I did talk with our auditor about how we can put this in the budget, and it will still be in IT expenses. But obviously we don't have in excess of $55,000 in our IT budget category. But I did talk with our current auditor about how we can budget this, and yeah, it's not a big deal as far as that goes. York Township and Addison Township indicated a willingness to work with us as a group, going back to Encode to see if we get a better price, which we did. And this afternoon, I also found out that they are now a tips vendor. And if you recall, we used tips vendors for a couple of projects that we did when we redid our roof and with a couple of other items. And so tonight, what I'm asking for, the contract that they sent us, I'm not asking for the right necessarily to enter into that license and service agreement, because I want to go back to them and see if I can get a better price, because they're a tips vendor and we're a tips member. So, but I am asking for approval to enter into a license and service agreement with Tyler Technologies. The contract that we have would be worst case pricing, if you will, which works out to around 55 grand. This is the software that is closest to doing what we need it to do. We'll be going from a DOS-based system to a window-based system. We are going to start out as an isolated, offline software program, which is what we are currently. The other thing that we need to talk to about them further is moving the program to the cloud. Right now, that is too expensive, in my opinion, also in Chris's opinion. And here again, once we zeroed in on Encode, Chris organized the bookkeepers again to take a hard look at that, in particular with Stacy at York and I forget her name at Addison. Mary at Addison. And that's something that they want a little bit more money than I think we should be paying for annual cloud storage. There's a lot of advantages to that, but so what we're looking at is an offline, non-internet system that provides for accounting, bookkeeping, financial planning, budgeting, payroll, and then does as close as we can get them to the monthly reports that we give you guys, starting in about month 4. This is the first month you guys got them in your packets, but they're excellent reporting devices. We want them to come in and set up their software as close to, so we can print out reports that are as close to what we have now, so we're not making a big change there. This is not a one-stop process. They estimated that it would take about 6 months to transition Township from an old software system to their software system, because they have to come in, pull the data files, decode and decipher the data files, translate them to their software, and then install them in our system. So we're looking at about a 6-month process with training. We'll bring Chris and I up to speed on this, and we may pull potentially Sue into it also. It depends. She's doing a really good job with human services. I don't want to dilute her efforts. Everybody loves her there. But so that's what I'm looking for, and I'll be happy to try to answer any questions. Software is a reasonably arcane thing. Everything is more expensive than I was hoping it would be. The software itself is a one-time expense. The annual maintenance fee is not that heavy of a lift.
Okay. The maintenance fee is $4,000 going forward, Mark. What are we paying now?
We pay $600 a year.
Okay, for the old one. Okay.
Yeah, it's like free software.
Okay. All right. Then how far back are we going on the historical information? Where you'd be able to go and look. Are we still going to have the ability to go into the old software and look up numbers for 3 or 4 years back?
3 or 4 years, yes. 10 or 15 years, I don't know.
Okay, so the new software is going to have the ability to go back 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, anything that's in our current data files, which goes back several years,
Okay.
will be transitioned to the new platform.
I think they said minimum 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that we have cross-training on this program with multiple staff, okay? Because the amount of the training that is going in here versus the hardware shows that it requires a lot of individuals knowing how to work this program. So in order to get the most bang out of our buck, we don't want to have 1 or 2 people doing it and then have those persons leave and then or retire, and then we have a problem. So I think you need to move a lot of individuals into this that work with this program. That would be my comment for this. But again, I think it's very important to note that we have no choice. In order to have township-type reporting and financials, that we don't have a reportable condition with the auditors at year end, we need to implement some software that is meant to report on townships. So I think we had a discussion for the record that, you know, like a QuickBooks is not something that we could use for this. We need something that has township-oriented funds and balances. So for that reason, I'm supporting this decision to go forward.
I'm in agreement with our, I think it needs to be more than 1 or 2 people that are trained in the program, and just for the specific things you said. We never know when we're going to have a change. What I wanted to ask you, Mark, is when you said it's not going to be, it's going to be offline, what is our backup for that? How is that handled when it's not going to the cloud.
Our current bookkeeping system is offline and isolated from the internet. There's no connection to the outside world.
So
So
what
it's
are we
one-
using for backup, as far as, is it downloaded to somewhere? or-
Yeah, we have a desktop unit, we have a laptop unit, we do backups now. We used to do them to CDs before, now we do them to thumb drives. So we do backup basically to solid state storage. We'll probably want to invest in a small server to control everything. That's a fairly nominal cost. So it'll be a desktop with a small server sitting next to it. We'll have the unit itself and then a laptop, which will also be running the software program, so that two different people can use it if they need to, but it'll be offline.
Right. So, I understand the thumb drive stored remotely makes sense on a very regular basis for this type of data.
Yeah.
But it seems to me in today's environment, we have the ability to go up into the cloud, both on the program and the data on a regular basis, which would be a push of a button when you go home. So could you get a price of that to see how much it would cost to have this backed up?
Yeah,
into a cloud
right now the price is $16,000 a year.
for this, the backup?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna talk with your software people about that, okay?
Well, no, we're gonna talk to them too.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense for this program to be backed up.
No
Can I
argument
say
there.
something? We will be able to back up on our own, you know, like for this new software. We can do the back, it'll be programmed in there, it'll automatically back up on a regular basis.
To a cloud someplace.
Well,
right?
a storage to the server.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
you know.
understand, why if we can get it on a data drive, we can get it up. in
No,
the cloud.
this will be on a server though. This will back up to the server and then it'll stay there. So
Yeah, and our
it'll
server
always-
gets backed up routinely, right, someplace?
None of ours do.
Okay,
None of ours do in the whole building.
Is our server in the basement.
okay, well, that's something we're gonna talk about.
And currently what we do is end of month, we burn a CD, or, well, now we burn a thumb drive.
Okay.
And then
I
that just goes in
I
the
will
drawer.
I will follow up with you on that.
Okay.
That-
Yeah, that concerns me.
I'd rather do it with up in the cloud, but it's just too much a year right now.
Okay.
And their willingness to start at almost $90,000 and come down to about $51,000 for the software. When a couple of townships expressed an interest, I'm looking for some sort of similar movement
Okay.
on that also. And there again, I'm also hoping that, I found out from the supervisor at Wayne Township, Supervisor Rainey, that they have just become a TIPS vendor.
Okay,
So we'll see if there's any further savings to be had.
very good, thank you.
That's why I don't want to sign anything tonight, so it's kind of like, we were talking before, it's kind of like with the Township Multipurpose Senior Center, we authorized signing a contract, then we talked about a lower price. So,
Okay, so what we're approving tonight is this fixed price of 55, not to exceed 55,000?
not to exceed, yeah, that's the best
Do
way
we
to
need to
put it.
amend that motion now? And not to exceed, because it simply was a motion to approve this vendor?
Yeah, you have to amend the motion.
Okay. I'll move
One
to,
vote for amending the motion.
First, right.
and then approval, and then one vote for the motion as amended.
All right.
so I'll make the motion to amend the motion to approve a lease and service agreement with Tyler Technologies not to exceed the dollars on the existing contract, proposed contract. And I need a second for that.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the amendment to the motion? Take a roll call on the amendment to the motion, Clerk Grimsby?
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
Hi.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
And Supervisor Tolman?
Aye. The amended motion
Sounds questionable.
passes, so now we move to, the amendment to the motion passes, now we move to the amended motion
And that goes back to me, I believe, because I made the motion.
Correct.
Okay, so I approve that, the amended motion.
Do we need to?
So you
Make the
move
motion
to
again.
vote on.
Amend my original motion.
Right, well, no.
No.
It's already amended.
It's already been.
So now we
amended.
need to vote on the motion as amended.
That's right.
Very good.
So
Can we
somebody
get a
has to
roll
move
call
it.
on the
Somebody has
motion?
to move that. Move the motion as amended.
Okay, I'll go ahead and do that. I'll move that we approve the motion as amended. Can I get a second?
Second.
And any discussion on the motion to approve the amended motion?
Motion as amended.
The motion is amended. Can we get a roll call vote on that? Clerk Grimsby?
Trustee Donner?
Aye.
Trustee Ferguson?
Aye.
Trustee Kelly?
Aye.
Trustee Vanderline?
Aye.
And Supervisor Tolman?
Aye. The amended motion passes 5-0. Thank you.
Alaska.
Man, okay.
Supervisor
So,
Yeah.
on to the supervisor's report. I got a couple items. Number one, I'd like to thank Chris for, Bustinger, for all the work that she's put in over the last couple of months, putting together these work groups. First, there's a support group for our existing software system, and then subsequent to that, putting together the search group. 5 of us in the office, so we'll move forward on that with all diligence. I'd also like to acknowledge the staff in the supervisor's office and general assistants and Clerk Grimsby. We have been here every day working. We've stayed very busy, which seems kind of counterintuitive when the entire world seems to have ground to a halt. We started out the first month, nonstop phone calls to people saying, I can't get a hold of this guy, I can't get a hold of that guy, what do I do about this, what do I do about that? We became an unintentional clearinghouse of government information and calming people down. We dealt with 10, 12 hysterical people every day that couldn't get through to the Illinois Department of Employment Security to apply for unemployment. And so we would talk them, first we talk them down, then we talk them through it and get them lined up to go. So I'd like to thank Kathy and Sue and Chris for their effort doing that. They stayed cool and calm the whole time. When passports, the State Department just sent us a short terse email one day saying we're closed. That was it. And,
Well, we can't go anywhere anyway, so
you know, and of course,
nobody's rushing to get their passports at this point.
you'd be
You wanna get
surprised.
Well, maybe
But,
they
you
want
know,
to try and flee, which.
That applies to
for that.
other people. I gotta go over here right away. And so those people, we had to very patiently explain to them that they weren't going anywhere if they didn't already have a valid passport, and they probably weren't gonna get there anyway.
People are trying to get their passports.
So, a lot of hand-holding for the first month or so.
I don't even have a house.
We kind of transitioned into setting up some events with DuPage Senior Citizens Council where we are distributing frozen meal packs to senior citizens aged 60 and older. So far, we've done 3 events. We've averaged about 200 participants in the 3 events, so we've handed out about 3,000 meals to seniors. We have another event scheduled for July 23rd, and hopefully, I won't say hopefully a final event, but hopefully during this pandemic, a final event, August 20, I forget, maybe August 13th. But we have 257 people signed up for the July 23rd event, and we have, I got to credit Sue and Kathy. They have really been diligent about reaching out to our independent senior living facilities like Oak Tree down the street, which first time around they knew nothing about it, and also getting in contact with people that we know are senior citizens that might also know more senior citizens that can take advantage of it and that can be helped out with that. So That's worked out really well for us. It's helped really solidify our relationship with DuPage Senior Citizens Council. We have, I sent over some potential agreement language to Al to vet with our fish, food, and clothing pantry and with our DuPage Senior Citizens Council. They've been pleased enough with what we're doing that now they're talking about doing more lunchtime feedings for seniors at the new facility, which is terrific. I'm all for it. You know, the more the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. I would be happy to let them do it every day of the week if they want to. York Township uses that model. They bring people in ahead of time. DuPage Senior Citizens helps feed them lunch. They have informational meetings after the lunch, and then it becomes an afternoon hangout place for senior citizens where they can kibitz with their friends and basically be part of the community. I mean, it's all good. So hopefully we'll move forward on that. If you've looked out there, I've seen what our EP Doyle's been up to. We're at a point where we're pouring concrete. Most of the footings, the foundation drains, the elevator well is all poured. Most of the walls are poured. We'll be pouring the balance of the basement walls Monday. We'll be pouring the floor in the basement at the end of next week. And then the week after, we'll be bringing in the first floor panels to put in place. And at that point, things will start to accelerate. The part where you're always underground in a hole is always fraught with problems and dangers, and we've managed to get around it with minimal unexpected contingency expenses. So I'm very pleased about that. EP Doyle is proven out to be an exceptionally good company to work with. We meet every other Thursday here, and we go over everything. And they've been very good. And I was at a supervisor's meeting this afternoon and mentioned in passing that we were working with EP Doyle, and the Lyle supervisor, Mary Jo Mullen, was like, oh, those people are awesome. How did, you're lucky to have them. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll take that. So that's working really well. Hopefully we'll stay on schedule. These guys are motivated to get done as early in February as they possibly can. And hopefully we'll have good things happening. You should have, I'm not done yet. I put in everybody's packet a sample of the monthly pay report. It is missing the payroll report, which they'll include starting next month. So the cover page is a letter from Ed Kalana, who's our owner's representative, engineer. He looks over all the expenses that are submitted to him to make sure that they all match up to the spreadsheet of the project expenses. And if you look at that sheet, it indicates exactly where the expenses are and how far along percentage-wise they feel they are at that particular item in the program. Up there on the wall is our Gantt chart, and as you can tell, even though it's a very big piece of paper, the printing on it is very small. But that ties into the spreadsheet, and also in the first monthly pay request was all of the amendments that we did when we negotiated a lower price. So you won't see many of those moving forward, I hope. But those are also included in the first pay packet. So this is always attached to the voucher that you guys will audit. So you'll always have a look-see at that. If you want, I can continue to put these into your file packets, so you have a hard copy of them, or I'm not going to put these up online because they're too complicated for somebody to just look at and understand what they are. What we are putting up online are the detailed pages, so everybody will know the check number, who it's to, what it's for, and how much it's for, and then the cover page, just like we do with all the other audit reports. So that'll all be up online. So that, and then we'll start providing you, now that we've got a history where we can get some reasonable projections off of it 4 months in, then I'll start including the monthly departmental reports to you guys also. So that's what we've been up to. I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover in the supervisor's report, unless I forgot something. And
I just have a comment. I was able to come for the last 5, the food delivery, and I've got to say, the people that came to pick up their food were very, very grateful. They could not, almost everybody was saying thank you, and they appreciated it, and it went very smoothly. The Tracy from
DuPage Senior Citizens
DuPage
Council.
Seniors was coordinated, she had everything together, and everything went really well. So people really do appreciate it, and there was, I think, 200 and,
Last time it was 240.
yeah, 240 meal packs were
So,
delivered to people.
Yeah, and they're not, when you say frozen meals, these are prepared by a caterer, so they're kind of like a, I want to say like a lean cuisine or a gourmet, and it is nutritionally balanced. It is, the menus are designed by a nutritionist, which is what they do for their Meals on Wheels program too. So, yeah, I even got a thank you card from one person that she sent them to, to the girls. Thank you, you're wonderful, we love this, and the meals are tasty. So, and we've gotten emails where people have thanked us, and phone calls where people just called me up and said, hey, really want to, this was great, the people out there were great, all I had to do was stop and give them my name, and they put the food in my car, and so it's been all good. It's been good for the senior citizens, and it's been good for the township and our relationship with DuPage Senior Citizens Council. They went last time and took the list that we had accumulated so far, and they shipped out shelf-stable boxes of food to everybody.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, this was all part of the Older Americans Act receiving additional funding from the CARES Public Act. And this is something you guys have heard me beef about, that the federal government spends trillions and the state government spends billions and the county spends millions, and we never seem to see any of it. And this was federal money that just landed as food for our senior citizens right here. So it's all good. And yeah, Karen helped out last time, and hopefully we'll have a great event in July and another great event in August. So I'd like to thank everybody for helping on that. And that concludes the supervisor's report. That moves us on to old business. Is there any old business anybody wants to discuss? Is there any new business anybody wants to discuss? With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion to.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Hi.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks for hanging in with us, Dave.